that they can't let you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality. They can't let you go. Because how do we know that? Why? Because the slave master used to get out of his warm bed, so to speak, and go down into the field and leave his wife in the house where he go down there. Why would you do that? Why would you leave your wife in the house and you go down into the slave quarters? Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Unless she just was better. Period.
Wait a minute. Now, rephrase that part. You said, unless he was better. What part is you meaning?
No. It's a better woman. It's just like, I put it to you like this. You ever seen let me see. Let me think of a car. You ever seen an Impala?
Okay.
Chevy Impala?
Okay.
You ever seen one?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yes. I don't see no.
Nice. Nice. It's a nice car, right?
Yes.
Nice. But guess what? It ain't no Rolls Royce though.
Exactly.
They both cars, but it ain't no Rolls Royce. See, we Rolls Royces. See, this is what they see. See, they see Rolls Royces when they see it. See, oh my God. This is crazy. It's crazy.
No.
Because you have to see what they see through. You got to look through it through their eyes.
But I was,
you know what I'm saying?
When you was talking, Raymond, I was going into the vision, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was going into the vision, I was seeing, when like, I could see the white man. I'm going back in the time of dealing with that slavery into 1800. And I could see that the white man, you understand me, who had plantation, and behind that plantation of his house, of his mansion, there go slave houses in the back. And so now he comes in and he leaves and creep out of his home, out of the mansion, and now he goes in the back to one of the slave houses. So that's what I was seeing, what you were saying, what make it better. Because you leaving out of the household with this woman, you understand me, that this white woman that supposed to have this, you know, that we're not going to say supposed to, but her hair is silky, she got white skin, she's like, you know, everything right now that the white man said that his woman is beautiful. But now this white man goes up, you know, rises himself up, goes in the back, and now he goes to one of his slaves. And now he goes in that slave and put his seed into that slave.
Now.
Go ahead now.
Now, right now, watch this. Now, when they depict, whenever you used to see slave movies or say anything dealing with slavery and dealing with the housekeeping and dealing with the women in the house, they always had a woman that was not that attractive. Because they've been cleaning around that house.
Exactly. That's the truth, because that's what the white woman did. Because she was already coming where a fight was coming up against her with her marriage in you know, in the first place. Because the white man also had concubines. You understand?
Right.
So the white man, those women of those slaves, women became concubines to him. You understand me? That's another thing too. So that means that on that plantation, it wasn't just one black woman he was just interacting with. He had houses, and he could have 100 slaves back there. You understand me? And in them 100 slaves, he could have had females that he could go, this night I'm over here, this night I'm over there. Go ahead.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But the thing that you have to understand is that these women that he was dealing with was extremely beautiful.
Yes, those was the beautiful women. And those beautiful women, those was the women that he had, that even, and the influence of his woman, the white woman, those was the women that was being pushed into the fields. Those was the women that was pushed in the fields picking cotton.
Right.
burning their skin in the sun. Those was the women that had to, be beat down. You understand me? Those beautiful women. That's the major thing. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, you're right.
So now the unattractive black woman, that black woman now, she's in the house cooking. She's in the house, nursing the babies, because also too, that means that black woman had babies and they used her milk. So they understood already when it came down to portable, bottles, and you got your the formula. The formula for the white woman was a black slave who would give her breast milk. You understand me? And nurse him. So she now want to stay beautiful. She want to be kept up to date. So her milk is now dried up. And now the black woman, she's now giving that baby the milk of the nourishment. So the more she nurse, the more the milk gonna come out of her breast. You understand me? That's the same with a woman. The more she nurse, the more milk gonna be developed. And see, this is exactly so what they had certain women. This is the woman that is in the house. She not just in one that is in the house cooking, but you got a woman in that house that is now the one that nurses them white babies. So when I look at that real good, I look at the time of dealing when Similac came in. I'm looking at the time when Carnation came in, when the formulas start coming in, when baby bottles start coming in. You understand? We have to go back and look at when did the year that the baby bottle came into existence. You understand me? That's the major thing. That thing didn't just happen just like that. You see what I'm saying? So now the baby now had the bottle, but normally it was dealing with breast milk. You see what I'm saying? It was always dealing with the breast milk. So now here go the baby bottle. Okay, now the baby bottle got cow milk in it. Now the baby got goat milk in it. Now the baby got now formula that been made by man. You understand me? Because that the Similac milk is a milk that been made by man that we have been feeding our children with for years, and that is the Similac syndrome. That God been giving me that for a while now about the Similac syndrome, about how our children in this day and time have came out of order and been very disrespectful, and their behavior is terrible. That is the Similac babies. You see what I'm saying? A lot of them went to jail. A lot of them, a lot of gang robbery came
Similac
in.
child.
Oh yes, the Similac child. Now I want to talk about the Similac babies a little bit more, the Similac syndrome, and I want to take it back all the way down to the time that Martin Luther King was fighting due to the fact of fighting for the Civil Rights Act, and we won that dealing with Kennedy in 1964, and then in 1965 we had the right to vote. That is major. And now, when slavery had ended, it was in 1863. That's when slavery ended, in 1863. Now, from that 1965 of coming now, that after slavery had ended, there was only 102 years. That means 102 years later, we was able now to vote. That was one of the things. And later on, I'm going to be doing a video that's going to be talking about the voting rights and about that how we must know where we come from with this. But I'm still talking about the Similac syndrome. Now, the Similac syndrome, and the reason why it's coming into, when I'm coming into the voting rights and coming into the order of this to show about the formula that about Similac. Now, when it comes into the fact that we just got the right to vote in 1965, 3 years later after 1965, Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. So now, after 1968, we comes in, Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood comes into effect immediately. That's only now 5 years later. Her effect of Planned Parenthood for abortion came in 1973. So now you can see the alignment right behind each other. Right there, 1965. Now we are able now to, that is going on the books, that blacks can vote. All right. So we take it again. I want to say 1964, we have the Civil Rights bill that been passed by Kennedy. Now 1965, we have the right to vote. Now 1973, the law now passes that a woman have the right to abort a baby, an unborn baby. Now, when this come in with the Planned Parenthood, now WIT come in the same timing. At the same time, in 1973, WIT comes in to bring forth the formulas. Now, the formulas come in now, that ready-made formulas. Not the breast milk, but the ready-made formulas that already have iron added into it. It have all these things that is saying is supplements. Now the baby is not sucking on the breast milk anymore. So now afterwards, when the Similac babies come in, now we're not just talking about carnation, we're talking about Similac. Now they say, okay, this the conspiracy. Now let's add something into that. Let us add supplements. Let us add chemicals. Now, them chemicals and reaction have affected the DNA of the black children. You understand me? Right here, I hope those that are listening, and watching this video can understand this, that it have affected our children behavior, and especially with black children, black babies that have become black men. Later, after the Similac formulas have went into a lot of these black children when they went to school, next thing you know, they have behavior problems. Next thing you know, they was not even diagnosed, some of them, not even diagnosed by a doctor to say they had to sit in special ed classes. The only thing, you get a letter, he's acting up in class, he's not doing his work, and he's overactive. All of these things come in. He can't sit in his seat. Next thing you know, your son, the majority of them was boys. They sitting now in special ed classes. Now you get some girls that comes into the special ed classes as well. But the majority was boys. That's major. So we know that the Similac syndrome with the DNA was triggering things inside of that child chromosome. It was doing something to that child mind pattern inside the DNA that could pass over to the next child, the next offspring. So we have to look at these things. So apostle, what is you talking about? Oh, woman of God, what is you talking about? But these things have to be considered. That these things is considered due to the fact of the past.